On this episode of Internet Business Mastery, we talk about how to get to #1 in Google. Yay!
Yahoo!
Finally. And in the quick tip, we share an excellent blog to read for boosting your daily freedom.
Welcome to InternetBusinessMastery.com, where you will learn to take control, make more money, and start an internet business today. Here are your hosts, Sterling and Jay.
Hey everyone, I'm Sterling.
And I'm Jay.
And we're on a mission to help you start your own internet business. You can go now to freevideogift.com to check out our video that teaches you the right way to start your own online business. So Jay, I'm completely excited about something that I never thought I would be excited about.
Well, that's certainly intriguing. Now we got to know. What is it?
Well, it's minimalism. Like, I just never thought I would be into that. And what it is basically, a real basic way of thinking about it is getting rid of all the clutter and making things as simple as possible. And that would mean even just all the junk that might be in your closet or garage or basement or even on your desk. I just, even last night, basically stripped my desk and worked kind of back to what do I actually need on the desk visible.
Right.
And it's funny because I'm not somebody who collects a lot of things or anything like that, but I still just had a ton of stuff and stuff that's distracting. I mean, got one of those little USB ports that makes it so you can plug 85 USBs in it or whatever, and it lights up and it's got all these little lights and it's, so I just basically have been learning about this whole minimalism stuff and seeing how it could work for me to, again, free me up. Gosh, almost even free my visual space as well as my physical space up of stuff that I don't use anymore.
Yeah.
And maybe even give it to people who could use it. Like, I even got all my DVDs transferred onto my computer and gave those to family and friends.
Yeah.
And just different things that I did to simplify my life, I guess, which is just, we always talk a lot about freedom, and this was one of those little aspects of freedom that I hadn't thought about until recently, and I'm finding it incredibly exhilarating for some reason.
Nice. So yeah, I guess it's freeing yourself of all this stuff that in the end just takes more time and mental space, and I guess even extra money if you consider if you've got a bigger house than you really need or more cars than you really need or that kind of thing. I can definitely see how that would lead to freedom for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just went through my closet and came out with 5 garbage bags of clothes that I don't wear and have been toting around, like when I went to San Diego, when I came back to Salt Lake. For years I've been toting all this stuff around, and I donated those, got all that stuff away, stuff that, there's been things I bought and never even wore because I just ended up not liking it when I got home or whatever. I've got just I'm just not a person that needs, 45 different shirts. I like 3 shirts and I just wear those 3. So I might as well make my life and closet look that way. And and I even, went through, I've got, 4 huge bookshelves of books and courses and all that kind of stuff. And, I went through all of that and cleared out about 2.5 bookshelves so far of stuff that I'm like, I've either read this. I know we're going to at some point probably talk about the whole taking everything digital, but, I looked at it like, can I get this digitally? Or, I'm just, again, it's part of the minimalism of going, I don't need all this stuff out, especially in this whole digital world, but also just because I got a lot of extra stuff, and it's getting rid of stuff that is clogging up my mind and making it so either I can't focus, or again, it's just, sometimes it's just visually overwhelmed, I guess.
Yeah, totally. So here's a question. Obviously I can see the future benefits of this process. How do you feel during and right after a decluttering, like of your desk, as you talked about, or it sounds like you did that through your bookshelves? What's the feeling during and after, or the benefit during and after this minimalist process?
Well, honestly, it's very similar, and this is why we bring it up on the show, it's very similar to the information diet that I've talked about on the blog, where you're getting rid of all this excess information or stuff that's in the way of whatever you want to really be focused on. Like, clearly, all the stuff that was all over my desk, there are things where I would see several hard drives I have and realize I've got stuff on there that I've got to filter through, I've got to go through, I've got some courses on there I still want to do, and it would remind me constantly. Now, it's again, just like the information diet where you start going, what do I really need to be bringing in, and what would I prefer to focus on? It's kind of like that as well with stuff. It's like if I only need 5 shirts, 2 shoes, and I don't need my hard drives all over my desk and all the wires and all that stuff, and I can find a way to declutter that, I think it just leads to more mental freedom and, the ability to focus more because you're not constantly reminded of, other things going on. And there's another strange benefit that is something I'm not used to, and that's I get pleasure at doing it in the moment, which is not my normal way of doing things. I'm a very much a futuristic person. I'm constantly thinking of the future and planning for the future and, knowing that what I'm doing right now is building a better future and that kind of stuff. And not so much like, what am I enjoying doing right now?
In the moment, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there was that. There was a sense of relief when I was done, going, wow, now I don't have to box all that stuff up again. And now when I come in, to my office, it's just completely the desktop. It's completely clear of junk and clutter and anything like that. And I just get this weird sense of, again, exhilaration, focus, and enjoyment, even in the moment.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's one thing I've been trying to really concentrate on recently is when I take on projects or just like the major things I spend time on, asking myself, okay, is this not only an investment in happiness in the future, but also, is there enjoyment right now? And I know, like, for instance, when we were moving to Argentina, clearly we had to get rid of just tons of stuff we just didn't want to store or whatever. And it felt so freeing and nice in the moment. And like some people might be thinking, oh, how stressful to have to go through my stuff and make decisions. But like once I was on a roll, I was like, man, this is fantastic. Like, what else can we get rid of? So, we'll have to definitely ask you in the quick tip maybe for a resource that people can reference if they're kind of interested in this minimalism side of things, this new style of freedom and applying it to their own lives.
Absolutely.
And now, the features segment.
All right, so we want to talk about on this episode a big breakthrough, a huge milestone for our business. It's always a good idea to revel in those things wherever you're at in the process. As you know, we love sharing those breakthroughs that our members, our community members, as well as our students and clients have. But it seemed like an appropriate time to share a big breakthrough of our own and then, kind of follow up with what that has meant for our business and how you can have a similar breakthrough for your own business. And we'll be talking about that both this episode as well as next episode. And the breakthrough is that after, all this time of Internet Business Mastery existing, we finally reached number 1 in Google for our primary keyword, which is Internet Business.
Yay!
And so, yay, congrats to us.
Congrats to us. Good breakthrough. Good job,
Good
guys.
Good job, guys.
Oh, wait. Good job, you.
Now, when I say that, because people all over the world listen to the show and they might be going and typing that in, whether they're in the UK or Tanzania or I don't know what else. And, of course, that's based on the United States, where we do get the vast majority of our traffic from. In various different countries, we're number 1. I believe if you're in the UK, you probably see we're not the number 1 in the UK. But all the same, so that's just to qualify that a bit. But really, wherever you're at, whatever country you're in or whatever country you're primarily targeting with your demographic, it's kind of a place a good place to use, I guess, as a barometer, as a gauge of your search engine rankings. So just wanted to give that qualification in there. So as we did announce this on the blog a little while ago, and different people wanted to know, had different questions about it, how we did it, what it has meant for our business. What do you get if you get to be number 1? Is it worth the effort of getting to number 1? How long did it take? And how can I do that for my own business? And next episode we'll go a little more specifically into some mechanics of how you can do that. But the quick answer of how we did it is that it was through concerted link building. meaning building up, helping along the process of increasing the amount and the quality of links that are out on the internet pointing back to our website. And the reason why that's important is because when it comes to search engine exposure, we've mentioned before on the show that it comes down essentially to two things. How relevant are you to that keyword, and how authoritative is your site regarding that keyword? Now, relevancy is something that we've really worked on from the beginning. Clearly, internet business is in the name of our show. It's in a lot of our content. It appears all over our site. It's very clear our site is relevant to the word internet business. And but that authority thing, the number one thing you can do is to get more links pointing back to your site. Because kind of Google sees that as a vote of confidence, or like, oh, okay, yeah, the more people and the higher quality people that are linking to this content or to this site, that means that it's quality, authoritative stuff. And so we will be serving our searchers better by ranking this higher up in those rankings. So that's to kind of give you the quick answer of how we did it. It was through link building and making ourselves look more authoritative by helping along that process of links pointing back to our site. And again, we'll go more into kind of the nuts and bolts of how, though there are just a couple things I want to point out that, we have done from the very beginning. And obviously that is that internet business is in the title of our show, and we've created great content from the very beginning. And that's why that is the strategy that we teach in our training, is that it's all about content marketing. And if you're making that great content, then it's going to just lend itself well to people linking back to your content anyways.
Wouldn't you say that those two things were major contributors for us to just get in the top 10 before we really started working on link building a few years back?
Absolutely. And that actually brings up a good point. I mean, we relatively quickly, we were ranking on the first page, and that's simply by having that keyword in our title and creating great content. And so we're talking, within the first year, we started appearing on the first page of Google. And that kind of leads to one of the first questions that people have is like, okay, well, how long did this take you? And really, like you said, it's only been in like the last year or two that we've really made a concerted effort in our link building, other than to have, great content that people are going to naturally want to link to. A few years ago, we started showing up, we were floating around rank number 7 to 10. So a couple years ago, we did bring somebody on board and hire somebody to do some link building for us. And then also we started going between like 3 and 7, and then finally popped up for a little while into number 2. And then we're kind of floating around number 3 to 7.
And then when they stopped, we actually dipped back down to like 7 and 10, just back to where kind of our normal, I guess, place would be based on
Absolutely.
how we were doing it, right?
And so that's what led you to go, well, maybe we should start doing some more. And so you set up our virtual assistant to kind of start doing some concerted link building again. And it was kind of funny because we were on the call with our coaching students, and we were talking, I think, about search engine exposure, and somebody mentioned on the call, well, how did you get to number 1? And we're like, I don't think we are number 1. The first thing I thought is, well, then maybe they're in another country where we just happen to be. It's like, maybe we are number 1 in Belgium. And I can go around saying, we're huge in Belgium.
Yeah, the Ukraine, we're really big there.
But I went and searched on the U.S. Google, and sure enough, there we were on number 1. I was like, oh, what do you know? That I think that link building you've had our team doing, Sterling, is and paying off. And we had a little rejoicing moment right there on the call live with our coaching students. So that was very cool. So that's kind of, the overall view of how that's what we attribute it to. It's there's a lot of different things. It's very complex what goes into the Google algorithm, but the evidence and the history and our experience with our site is very compelling that definitely link building played a big part in that. And when we haven't done the link building, we start kind of, slipping down to more of a normal steady state. And so, yes, it does pay to put some time and effort into helping that link building process along. And consistently so, not just like, oh, I'm going to link build for a month or two and then stopping.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the overview of how we'll go into some mechanics more of that next episode. But I do want to answer a few other questions and bring these up, Sterling, for us to discuss, because when we announced it on the blog, naturally some people started saying, oh, well, okay, well, obviously, how did you do that? But was it worth it? What was the impact on your business? Stuff like that. So one of the things that it's important to realize when it comes to, and I think a lot of people probably just naturally realize this. I mean, Sterling, when you do a search on Google, how often is it that you'll go to, past that first page of results, that you'll scroll to the second or the third or fourth or even, page of results in Google?
Almost never do I even go to the second page. The only way I go to a second page is if, there's just not the correct information based on the keyword I looked at on the first page. But obviously I look at the first one I go to instantly if it looks correct. And I might look at a couple of others, if it's just not quite hitting what I want. But yeah, page 3, I don't even remember the last time I've looked at a page 3. Right. Looked 3 pages in to the search. It's page 1, maybe the top of page 2. If, maybe I'm that might be me putting in the wrong keyword or something like that, so it's not quite as targeted. But that's the only time I ever go to 2.
Yeah, it's funny, just that natural tendency as humans. I mean, we have very limited time. We just want the quickest answer. And so we just kind of naturally assume it's like, well, whatever Google's ranked as number 1, that must be the best thing. And so, 95% of the time, we're going to click number 1. Well, I should say 95, but the vast majority of the time, people are going to click number 1, and then they might come back and go to number 2 or 3 or others if they didn't quite find what they wanted on those first. But yeah, I think it's easy to see why it's that those top 3 get the vast majority of the clicks, and it's going to vary per niche. But that's where the attention goes. I mean, they've done very scientific studies of where people's attention goes and what they actually click on. And to bring that down to some actual numbers of, well, what is it that you get if you do land then into a top 3, as they found on average, this is an average across the board, again, will vary per niche. On average, the number 1 slot gets about 56% of the clicks. So, somebody does a search, 56% of those people that do a search are just going to click on number 1 thing. Number 2 gets around 14% of the clicks, so it's a steep decline from 56 down to 14. And number 3 gets 9%. And then, how many does that leave? That's like 60, 70, 79. So that's like 21% remaining. The remaining 21% is, shared amongst the rest. And, most of that being the rest of the links on the first page, the 4 through 10. And it's probably, it's definitely less than 1% that even go beyond the first page ever. So clearly, getting up into those top 3 is worthwhile. Well, what did it actually mean for our business? Well, it's been relatively soon, on a couple months. We're still kind of watching that. Again, there's a ton of variables that go into play. We just came out of the holidays. The holidays can certainly impact your traffic differently, whether up or down, depending on what your site is about. And so, but, to kind of give you a general idea, from the month right before we went to number 1 to the month right after, it was somewhere around like a 25 to 30% jump of, jump in our traffic. So we probably went from being like number 3 or 4 to actually jumping up to number 1. And that equated to, for us, about a 25% increase. Now, that's not going to be, scientific proof of what will happen with you, but, it is definitely an impact. I mean, you increase your traffic from a source by 25%, then the money from that source you can follow through, is going to increase as well. And so that's never a bad thing when you get more people into that top of that funnel, for sure.
Well, and I guess the other thing to say is the holidays for us is usually less traffic. For whatever reason, our business during the holidays, traffic goes down a little bit. So for us to hit 30%, to me, I say in the next 3 or 4 months, if we continue to hit number 1, we'll see the real bulk of that, bump.
Yeah, it was interesting to see those last 2 weeks of December. It's a slight slump in sales relative to other things, which makes sense. A lot of people traveling, spending time with family, they're thinking about other things. But then we had our first week in January, and it was a huge week of sales, which makes all kinds of sense. All of a sudden, people New Year, January 1, how do I change my life?
Goal time.
How do I goal time? I'm not happy with where I am. How can I make something different? And so all of a sudden, we start seeing the effects of that. So that's going to vary absolutely depending on, if you're like in a fitness niche, obviously you're going to see a huge jump right after the holidays.
January through March apparently is a huge month,
huge time.
The whole time for the whole year.
It's when health clubs make all their money.
Yep.
They can just get all those signatures on the 2-year contract in those first 3 months. They're set. So the next question, I guess, would be, well, okay, is it worth it then? Okay, so you gave us an idea of the kind of boost that you might expect. Is it worth putting in that effort? Now, whether or not you push for number 2 or number 1, if you're already ranking on the first page and you're already ranking like number 7, is it worth it? Is it such a complex question? But you have to gauge a number of things. Certainly there's a cost, risk, and benefit analysis that has to go into that. Because sometimes making that difference of going from number 2 to number 1 could be relatively little amount of effort, or it could be a colossal campaign for 2 or 3 years because that number 1 person has been around forever and has tons and tons and tons of links, and it's a Wikipedia page, or it's a government page, or it's an EDU page, and so something that's just really can be really hard to unseat. So when you are talking about that last little increment of a jump, that's where it becomes important to look at, okay, well, what is the competition and how easily might I or might I not be able to overcome them? So to help you in that, there's a tool actually that we really, really like that makes that kind of analysis very easy by the numbers, and they'll even kind of give you a green, yellow, red gauge of, red being like, whoa, it's going to be a big task, just so you know, and green going like, hey, this shouldn't be too bad to target this. Or even telling you where you can, what you can do to really get highest leverage increase over another site. And that tool you can find by going to getyourkeywordtool.com. And they've got a free trial. They've got some great videos. You can download that trial. I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks trial you get, and they got some great videos all about kind of a little bit of keyword assessment. And people might be thinking, oh my gosh, eyes glaze over, but really this tool, the combination of this tool and their kind of getting started videos is like the easiest path of just what you need to know right now to kind of get an idea and a confidence level of when it comes to your search engine strategy, or whether it comes to just choosing a niche to begin with altogether.
Yeah, I'll say that for me, somebody who definitely my eyes glaze over with that kind of analysis, they make it really simple and easy, again, with the green, yellow, red. And that's where, doing an analysis for me, if I can see it that simply and I don't have to do all the calculations and all that other stuff, it definitely worked for me. And I know that watching their videos, even way back when they first came out, I watched their videos and bought the product and everything like that. So, and it completely helped. And I think we even used it as part of didn't we use this for part of our analysis for choosing internet business?
I don't think this keyword tool was around yet. Actually, back then, we were using, the big thing was like a spreadsheet. But I was getting a lot of the data from Word Tracker.
Oh,
which,
that's right.
Is a really high end, expensive, and it's for anybody operating at a smaller level, like the kind of that's for like big companies who need like the huge ongoing data and stuff like that. So yeah, when this tool came out, kind of for the easy way for the small guy to do keyword analysis, it was definitely, it was awesome and made the job a lot easier.
Very good.
So that kind of answers a little bit like, okay, well, that's what it's meant for our business. That's, the kind of across the board, as well as specifically for us, the kind of impact it might have for your business, and, a tool to kind of help you analyze, okay, is that worth it? Just a couple more things on is it worth it? When you're first starting out, I would say it's absolutely worth. The first thing we teach in the academy is start making great content. But then one of the next things we teach is, okay, we're teaching the quickest, easiest, spending the least amount of money kind of tactics in the academy. And so link building is one of those quickest, easiest, simplest ways to start getting traction without having to spend a lot of money. And from the beginning, it's a good idea to put some effort into link building, because it kind of sends that message right away that, hey, my site is legitimate. And it's not like I just am a flash in the pan that showed up on the internet, but now, other sites are linking back. There's these links pointing to my site, and it just helps Google and the other search engines actually find you, because they don't even know that you're there until they start following links from other places. So in the beginning, it's a good idea to do a bit, just because it really helps, establish things and get that traction going.
I mean, even if you did 10 minutes worth a day, I think our VA does somewhere around 30 minutes a day now at kind of as a big campaign, which, certainly seemed to help, let's say, get us from 3 to number 1, since what we've been doing this entire time since we were, let's say, number 3 to number 1 is basically the same. And the only thing we changed was this, being even more heavy with the link building strategy. But, we were doing a lot of stuff, and I was even testing with other little markets and doing this particular link building strategy, which is in the academy. What module is that? Do you remember right off?
I believe it's like module 7, where we start talking about
the link building
and search engine optimization and stuff like that.
Yeah, and see, even with I was even personally, back when I was testing this, I would do it myself for some minor sites that I had, just that I was testing with, and I was able to go to number 1 really fast. In fact, the fastest I was able to go to number 1 in some of the smaller keywords, like pet keywords, not like dog or something, but lizard, different keywords, was 3 weeks. And all I did was link building, just to see the power of it. And so yeah, even with the doing 10 minutes a day or 10 minutes every other day or something, just starting to do it, you will see results rather quickly. That coupled with doing the blog and other stuff that we teach is a 1-2 punch, man, big time.
All right, so there you go. That's how we did it. That's how we got to number 1. It was a combination of a lot of things, but definitely that last push to get us to the top, link building, is what made the difference for us. So next episode, we're going to talk specifically about how to get more exposure through link building and give you some exact ideas of strategies you can go about in order to start putting this into action for your own site as well. And if you're already an Academy member, you definitely check out the modules and the sections that talk about link building, because they walk very specifically with videos and some exact strategies step by step on how to do this yourself, and will make the process really easy for you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to also mention kind of the mindset behind, is it worth it? Well, let's just say on our big keyword, and again, we were ranking pretty high and finally got that final push. I mean, let's just say it caps out at 30% more traffic, and the way we convert, let's just say we do get 30% more sales. I mean, is it worth it? Well, let's just think of the time. So I did spend quite a bit of time back when I was learning it, messing around with it and stuff. But again, if you got the Academy, you've just got my final results of how I did it. But we give it to a virtual assistant. Let's say she spends 30 minutes a day on it, and we get 30% more income. I mean, that's a lot of extra money for effort. So even if you're able to put 10 minutes more in, and you're able to get on that first page just with the link building and with doing the content and stuff that we teach, it will absolutely be worth it. And if you're planning on doing this, like, you're not going to quit. I mean, I always looked at it like, well, of course we should at least try it. It's not like we're going to quit. I mean, we'll test it, and if it gives us a result, we'll just keep doing it. So, it's just that mindset of course you should put some time into this. Is it worth it? Absolutely.
So for those of you in anticipation of the next episode, where we'll talk more specifically, if you want an action you can take today, we would like our recommendation to you would be go to getyourkeywordtool.com, download the trial, watch their beginning tutorials on kind of how to use the software, and that'll start getting your mind going as far as, okay, what is the competition within my niche? What are the best keywords that I should be thinking about going for right now? All right, this episode's breakthrough is a voicemail that was sent in by one of our recent coaching program graduates, Ryan Oakley. So let's go ahead and play what he had to say.
Hi, Jane Sterling. It's Ryan Oakley, one of your students from the Coaching Lab 101 course. I just wanted to thank you for all the material, the resources, and your time in providing me guidance to get my internet business up and running in such a short amount of time. And it really is a short amount of time. I entered into your course, I think it was in the middle of October, and by the end of November, I had a decent website up, and I was promoting affiliate products, and I was gaining followers in Twitter. And it was such an amazing experience to be able to have this business up and running. I've made my first couple of $100s before I even finished the course, and I'm quite confident that I'll be able to reach my dream goal of $10,000 per month within a couple of years just by following the step-by-step action items that you provided in your material. I love that I've got unlimited lifetime access to the course, to the Internet Business Mastery Academy material. I'm going to definitely stay active in the forums and keep working on my site and keep working on my business. It's been an amazing experience for me. I'm so glad that I was able to overcome my hesitations to invest in the course, and I definitely recommend it to anybody that is thinking about starting up their internet business the right way and the fast way. So thanks a lot, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ryan, for sending that in and for your kind words. We are absolutely thrilled that you found the coaching program to be so fulfilling and helpful in reaching your goals. And we have full confidence that you will be making $10,000 a month before you know it as well. So we're excited for that day to come, but definitely keep us in the loop. And we want to have you on the show sooner than later to interview you about your success and your progress.
And remember, there's a live question and answer call each month for coaching members, where you can ask us anything about starting and running your internet business. Not a coaching member yet? No problem. Just visit internetbusinessmastery.com/coaching to get the latest information about our coaching program.
It's time for the Internet Business Quick Tip.
So, Sterling, at the beginning of the show, you got us all excited about this new minimalism thing that you're doing. Do you maybe have a site or a resource, a book or something that you're turning to a lot right now that people can check out if they're interested in learning more about this way of being, this lifestyle, this new form of freedom?
Yeah, absolutely. The one that basically I started with and then branched off to some other things that they actually suggest is called The Minimalists with an S at the end, .com.
Okay.
And of course you can go to our show notes and, get the direct link to that. But, that's where I basically started, and they even had like a 21-day, to minimalism challenge. And nice. there's a level of it, you basically, there's no hard and fast rules, so to speak. Like you don't have to do something to win or whatever.
Yeah.
It's mostly just learning. Like I like reading it and going, okay, how deep do I want to go? What will be comfortable and freeing to me? And of course, also we talked a little too about, how did it feel? And, I go to the point where I'm still feeling enjoyment and excitement.
Nice.
And there are times when, they'll say, oh, and then the only thing I have on my desk is the keyboard and mouse, and that's it. And I go, oh, I can't do that because I got a laptop, I got a printer. I mean, there's just things that, but it makes me think sometimes too. I go, oh, how could I do it without a printer? Could I? It at least makes me think, and I really like that. And the writing style is really easy to read, and they link to things whenever they need to that you could read deeper into it. I really like it. So again, that's theminimalists.com.
I'm checking out their site right now, and it is a very minimalist website. What do you know?
As it should be.
So it's pleasing and easy on the eyes, and only what needs to be there is there, as you can imagine. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to read that some more, too. Thanks for sharing.
And I actually wanted to thank a friend of mine in San Diego that actually kind of turned me on to these guys and the whole minimalist stuff. And that's Kevin from the Healthy Mind Fit Body podcast. And of course, you can go to healthymindfitbody.com to check out his podcast. But thanks, Kevin, for letting me know that on Facebook. He just was talking about getting rid of all this stuff, and I asked him, and he got all into it with me. So thanks a lot, Kevin.
Nice. Credit where credit's due. I dig it.
Absolutely. If you'd like to get dozens of resources such as this one, you can find them in the Internet Business Mastery Academy, along with video tutorials showing you exactly how we use many of them. So to get your risk-free trial membership to the Academy, go to internetbusinessmasteryacademy.com.
You've been listening to the iconoclasts of the 9 to 5, Sterling and Jay. Sterling and Jay invite you to discover one of their most popular video programs ever, the Online Business Freedom Formula. Visit freevideogift.com right now to get instant access to this life-changing video series, pulled directly from the acclaimed Internet Business Mastery Academy membership community. Go now to freevideogift.com. Take control. Make more money. Start an internet business today.